Welcome to the Outdoor Oasis podcast, where we interview outdoor living professionals and help homeowners become better buyers of outdoor living spaces. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow us on Instagram at Get Your Outdoor Oasis. Let's get into today's episode.
All right, it is the Outdoor Oasis podcast. Let's have some fun today with my guest Mike from Sweet Innovations.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Thanks for coming out, man. Good. I'm really grateful to have Mike as one of my partners. He's basically, everything you could ask for in a partner. He's very reliable, does quality work, very reasonable prices. So I want to bring him on and talk about the different things that he does with screens, because I know me, myself, just learning about it, I didn't really know. It's just like I look at a screen and I don't really know the differences or what to look for. So that's kind of the purpose here, is to bring him on and help you guys, when you're buying decisions and the different options that you can get with screen enclosures. So I'll let him take it away here and talk about, why don't you want to start with like your background and how you got into the screen.
Okay. Well, Dave, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm happy to inform you guys of my knowledge and expertise. My name is Mike. I'm born and raised in Tampa, Florida. I went to Chamberlain High School for you local people. And, I joined the military for 5 years, came out. So thank you. But I've been doing screening ever since I was 17. I've been doing this.
Okay, I'm jealous. I wish I would have been learning to trade at that age and been able to.
Well, yeah. So I've got a lot of years in the trade. So I've learned a lot of tricks. I've learned a lot of what to do and what not to do. And we own Screen Innovations. We're locally family owned, and we try to serve the Hillsborough and surrounding area, patio that surround the area. And as far as that,
How'd you get out? I remember you telling me about how you just kind of got into it. It's kind of an interesting story after I said it.
Well, it's funny. It's comical. Well, I used to work at a bowling alley, as a teenager. Pretty fun job, actually. Well, there was a guy that came in there, he was kind of hot stuff. He had a BMW and a Hummer, and, his wife was dressed really nicely, and they spend a sizable amount of money at the bowling alley on a nightly basis. And I would think, man, what is this guy doing, to be able to afford to do all this? So I counted him, I hounded him. I said, well, hey, man, can I do what you do? Tell me what you do. Get me in there. And one day he did, and I've been running ever since.
That's cool, man. How long have you had your own company?
Since I got out of the military, so since about 2014.
Yeah. Wow. So good. Okay, cool. So let's talk about those specifics as far as screen enclosures go. What are the different type of screens that people can get? As far as like the 18 by 14, 20 by 20, panoramic, roof types, all that stuff. Anything you want to get us to, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So if I had any advice to you, the consumer, it would be quality. Quality is definitely important. There's a lot of different types of screens out there. For instance, I personally like to use Pfeiffer brand. It's a United States made product, and it seems to last the longest in my experience. There's a lot of all brands that are Chinese made, and they're more like a builder grade type screen. They only last for 3 to 6 years, maybe. But
I like to think people expect the Pfeiffer's to be left.
We advertise that it lasts 10 plus years. It really depends on the atmosphere it's in. Chlorine pool, saltwater pool, sun exposure, tree cover. Pressure washing. There's a lot of cleaning processes. There's a lot of different variables to that question.
Very good. Okay. And as far as the screens go, I know there's the 20 by 20 for like pets. Does that really make a difference? Is it worth it? How much more is it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, there's a standard screen. It's fiberglass screen. That's the composition of it. It's fiberglass. 1814 would be the mesh count. And that means one way there's 18 lines, and the other way there's 14 lines. We have another type of fiberglass screen that is 2020 screen. This is generally used for if you have no-see-ums, the small little bugs that get through the standard size holes, or in your roof, if you're under pine trees, the pine needles like to fit into the holes of the screens. Well, the 2020 screen kind of stopped that from happening.
Okay.
I think it's just bugs. So that basically sums up the regular screen, standard screen. You have other screens that are specialty screens like Super Screen. Super Screen is a product that's made out of PVC instead of fiberglass. That has pros and cons. Let's start with cons. One of the cons is that it's more flammable than the regular screen. So, barbecuing next to it, you need to pay more attention to it. Having a fire pit inside of the screen enclosure, you pay a little more attention to it. Okay. But the pros are far outweigh the cons. It's much more durable. as far as during wind, and especially on golf courses with golf balls, more check resistant, ankle resistant. It comes with a heftier price tag, though. Our standard is about a third more is what you'd be paying for the stretch of these things.
Okay. You mentioned the fire pits and chase netting and stuff. So if they were to have that inside the screen, is there a certain amount of space for me to be away from that?
In my experience, I have seen enclosures where you're sitting there barbecuing, grilling, and you take the hot top and you just open it up and you're sitting right up against the screen, and it melts the entire wall of the screen. It's dangerous. It is dangerous.
Okay.
Now, I've also seen where people just hold it away from your enclosure 2 to 3 feet, and that seems to be enough for the barbecue. Obviously, if you have an out of control flame or a very high flame, that might pose a different risk.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other thing is the panoramic, which is cool. We do a lot of those just re-screens, not to necessarily do a whole new screen enclosure, but opening it up. I mean, it really helps, especially if you're on the water. Obviously, if you have a nice view, you want to, get a better angle of it. So, talk about that a little bit.
Sure. There's a lot of advantages widening your view without the obstruction of posts and uprights, rails. The most important thing about it is making sure it's constructed properly and that you attach to the existing enclosure the right ways. Because you're modifying the enclosure.
Right.
And
so that has to be engineered, right?
Yes.
Even if you just do a rescreen, the things with panoramic that needs to be.
Yes, if you do any modification to the structure itself, it needs to have a permit process. It needs to be inspected to make sure that the quality of work is up to the standard, the code, and and for the homeowners and the contractors, protected.
Right.
This is if another storm comes through, God forbid, and you have that modification done to your enclosure, and it wasn't inspected by the county, who's liable? The homeowner that hired an unlicensed contractor, or at least the getting full permit for it, or the company that did it. I mean, that's a sticky situation.
Yeah, it should be necessary. And then as far as actually doing it, how long does it take? What's the customer would expect as far as the timeline, pricing, anything like that? Is it usually a certain amount or just depends?
Well, there's a lot of variables that go into both timing and cost. Obviously, if you have a straightforward, just no degrees, no angles, just a straightforward enclosure, the simplicity of that just makes it a little cheaper and easy and time-wise faster to do.
Yeah.
Once you start getting into a more complex and more complex design, it takes longer and costs more money.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as permitting, I used to tell people 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, it may not take that long, but then once we get that and you're on the job, I'm saying a day or two usually, or could it be more than that?
Oh, for the actual labor of the job?
Yeah.
I mean, for like a rescreen, it's a standard rescreen should generally be 1 to 2 days. Weather permitting, obviously we are in Florida, but for a build or a modification, it's generally between 2 to 4 days.
Okay.
So not too bad. We try to close it. We try not to keep it open too long. We try to keep the thing secure from leaves and debris as much as possible.
It's worth the wait.
Yeah, definitely.
So speaking of weather permitting, there's also different roof types, especially the composite one, where it's actually like a solid roof, where if somebody's concerned about having people over in the rain and having a separate area where they can, be covered, that is something that you guys do as well, right?
Oh yeah, in fact, it's becoming more and more popular where, homeowners would like to modify an existing enclosure to where we take one end of it and either add on to or modify what's there already and put a covered roof line, and that has a lot of versatility to your living space.
Absolutely, yeah. We've done a few of those already, and customers love them. So that is something that's an option for everybody who may not be aware. Other than that, Jim, I mean, any other just advice in general? I mean, a question I always like to ask, because I also try to help out other outdoor living contractors, like something that now that maybe you wish you knew, or just good lessons or experiences, anything like that.
I mean, what I've learned works is to not cut corners so much. Make sure you do diligent work, make sure you do quality work, and make sure you know what you're talking about. Make sure before you do something, you know what you're doing. There's a lot of people out there that pretend like they know what they're doing, and then the quality shows at the end. The outcomes, Yeah.
So do your research on any other contractors. Obviously, ask questions. I don't know if there's any questions to recommend that people would ask just to make sure that somebody knows what they're doing. But I mean, just in general, like I said, just do your research and ask a lot of questions, and that'll always help you determine who might be a better fit for you.
Yeah, I would say I always like to be challenged by a customer, a homeowner sometimes, to see if I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been there many times. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I love working with you, man. You give great customer service. Any questions that the customer wants, he's always right there. And very knowledgeable. I haven't seen him get stumped like that yet.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
yeah, that's really great. All right, man. So I think that's it. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? Or not?
I think I'm good. I look forward to anybody that has questions. Please feel free to find us, and we'll get out there and answer them.
Yeah,
Even if we're not, even if you're just someone that has curious, you're not going to get your job done by us. We'll answer any questions for you.
That's true, man. He does that for me as well. Anytime I got questions. So if somebody wants to look you guys up or contact you, where can they find you?
You can find us at Street Innovations. We have a Facebook page, 813-510-8398. We're out there.
Cool. All right, well, I guess that'll do it, man. Mike, I appreciate you coming out.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Yeah, peace.